Installing kitchens is relatively easy, providing of course you follow your plan that you've laid out. The plan doesn't have to be as detailed as what this one is. This one's done actually on a CAD drawing, but as long as you've got the cabinet numbers, which is crucial when you come to do the layout, that's the most important thing. So at the moment we're going to start along this back wall here because it's a U-shaped kitchen. We've got two corner cabinets, we've got an oven cabinet and a little cabinet next to it. So basically what we first of all do is we pop the corner cabinets, we pop this corner cabinet in position, then the oven cabinet, and work our way around there. We're not going to be fixing them off in place, we're just going to be putting them in position to start with. Okay, one of the first things we need to do, we've got a gas pipe there, so we need to measure the gas pipe and we need to transfer those measurements onto the back of our corner cabinet. Okay, what we need to do now is to actually drill a hole that's in the back of the cabinet. So what we need to do first is to do the countersink drill. Okay, a good idea is not to go all the way through the cabinet. The reason for that is that because when we come through if we went all the way through the cabinet, we would have chips on the inside of the cabinet. So that just gives a neater finish on the inside of the cabinet. Now we now have the cabinets roughly in position. We can take off the doors if we need to screw them together. Sometimes that's just an easier way to do it, so you just lift with the carcasses. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to screw the cabinets together first, and then we're going to do the final position. To make it a little bit easier, just wind up the legs so that the cabinets end up flush before you screw them together. That'll just make your life a little bit simpler. And once you've got them level and flush together, you can just clamp them before you screw them. Okay, we now have our base cabinets all screwed together and all flush along the top. We haven't done the final levelling of it yet, nor have we actually screwed it to the back of the wall, and there's a reason for that. So we need to make sure that sort of the other cabinets are going to go in on the other side here, no problems, before we start screwing it back. So when doing a tall cabinet like this, if you just put the legs at the front and you don't put the legs at the back, it'll make it easier to lift up. And then once you've got the legs on the back, you can just slide it into its final position. Okay, all the legs are on. Slide the cabinet back. By having the parts individually labelled, it makes it nice and easy to work out which ones go where. So for example, this one is going to room number 1, which is the kitchen, and it's cabinet number 6, and this is an applied end left. So this is an applied end that goes on the left hand side of this cabinet here. Screwing up the applied end onto the side of the cabinet. Okay, so you can see here that we've made the correct allowance where we've got our cupboard, where we've got this access to the spa area. Inside here we're actually going to have the dishwasher, so if the plumber does need to get to the spa at all, simply take the dishwasher out and the plumber will be able to get in there and access that. Okay, so all I've done is transferred the measurements across to the centre line of the waist and also to the pipes, and literally just transferred them into the cupboard here. These two ones I've already drilled, and now I've just got to drill the bigger waste hole one. Is that the one? Yep. So this is where the dishwasher is going to go. So all I need to do is to make sure that the measurement across here is the same. So I'm allowing a 610mm opening for the dishwasher, and that's the same. So that's in position of where it's got to go, and now we can put the other cupboard next to it. Okay, just making sure that it's the same distance between the cupboards. 2400. And 2400 spot on. So that way when the stonemason puts his bench on, it'll be nice and square. So this is just measuring up the breakfast bar panel that goes at the back here. We're going to go hard up into this wall, but because this wall has an angle, always good cabinet making practice is to make it a bit longer. So I've got 46 millimeters. I just check got the same at the bottom, which I do. So I'll take off 46 millimeters on that side there, and then this will end up flush with this side of the cabinet. A good idea when cutting it is you can just use your standard jigsaw, depending on what sort of blade that you've got in the jigsaw, whether it's a laminate blade or a different sort of blade, depending will determine how much chips you're going to get in the board. A good idea is to start a little bit further back, just to see what the jigsaw is doing, in other words how much is chipping. So, not too sure whether or not you can see that, but that's probably about a mil worth of chipping. So in other words, along this line here, I'm going to set this jigsaw back about 1.5 to 2 millimeters along the line, and then I'm just going to finish it off with my electric planer to give a nice finish. Okay, now I have the panel perfectly flush, and flush on the outside as well. I can screw fix the panels in the cupboard. Okay, so now we have the cabinets in, they're levelled up. Now what we need is to screw fix it to the back of the wall. There is a stud that we know that is located there. So we've popped a little drill hole there. Now just all we need to do is just literally screw the cupboard to the back of the wall. Okay, with the fridge cupboard clamped in position, just a matter of actually screwing it to the cabinet. Just screwing up the fridge panel, flush with the top here. Okay, we have a microwave cabinet going over here. Sometimes it's easier to actually drill the holes in the cupboard where the studs go, rather than having it up here and then start drilling in the back. So I know that my stud location is there. 435, so if we mark that on the back of the microwave cupboard, we'll be able to drill that straight away. So these stands here, you'll find are very, very useful because they've also got micro adjustment in them as well. However, you can, of course, just cut some pieces of timber and that'll do basically the same job. So what we need to do now is get the top of this cabinet here in line with the top of the cabinet above. And once we've got that, we can screw fix to the side of the cupboard, and we can also screw fix to the back into the stud. Okay, we have our blind cabinet in, so now we're just creating a level line across the wall, and this will dictate where the rest of our cabinets will go. We have a corner cabinet, an upper walled corner cabinet that's going in on the top left hand side. So that needs to go in now, and it needs to go in line with the level line we're just running across the bottom of the wall. Okay, now we put our upper corner cabinet on, and our cabinet to the left hand side of that on. And now we're going to work our way across to the right hand side to the blind cabinet. Okay, we're getting our level line across. We're on to our last cabinet. Okay, so we have the last cabinet in. Now all we need to do is plane the filler between the cabinet and the blind cabinet to fit perfectly. Okay, with the bulkhead in place, now it's just time to screw fix it. Okay, this is attaching the cam fittings to the bulkhead. So the cam fittings just go into the pre-drilled holes, and you simply line them up with the other pre-drilled holes on the other side. And just to tighten it's only about a 3/4 turn to tighten it. Simply slide the bulkhead into place. Here are some of the other advantages for going for OzFlatPacks. For example, one of the things you can actually request that you want the door to just hang down past the cupboard, and that way you don't need handles on them, so you can open and close them. One of the other advantages with OzFlatPacks is you can actually specify under cabinet lights. You can also specify how far you want that light to come in from the right hand side of the cabinet or the left hand side of the cabinet. So for example, this one's in about 80mm from the right hand side of the cabinet. If you don't specify anything, we'll pop the light right in the actual middle. With the under cabinet lights, they automatically come with the additional shelf so it doesn't get too hot when the lights are actually on. And we also do the secret routing that goes along the back and up the top of the cupboard, so you can mount the wires in the top of the bulkhead. One of the other things that you can specify in OzFlatPacks is actually to have a cooktop route, and this is in the underbench oven cupboard, for example. So we've got a cooktop that's going in here. It may need to be cut out here rather than having the traditional ugly jigsaw cutouts. We can do a nice proper router cutout, and then that way then when the cooktop goes in, it's not going to interfere with the ends of the cabinet. These are just some of the advantages that you can have using OzFlatPacks.